Welcome to Three Mums Podcast, hosted by Natalie, Anthea, and Charlene. This is a space where you'll get nothing but real conversation. This is your moment to pause, have a laugh, get involved, and come on our journey. Open, honest, and free always. Hashtag the Three Mums Way. Hi guys, and welcome to Three Mums Podcast, where we're open, honest, and free. This is season 1, episode number 2. We're not just mums, and neither are you. This is me clapping, people. I'm just excited because I think this topic is just necessary, really. This title makes me think about identity. It makes me think of the fact that sometimes you do lose yourself when you become a mum. It's something that I've spoken to with some of my friends before, and they've kind of expressed that that is something that they have struggled with. And I think even as humans, we naturally sometimes put titles on ourselves, and those titles can become crutches, I think. But when you actually strip it all back and actually pause and think, who am I? Before I was a mum, before I was a wife, for me, this is me I'm talking now. Like, what do I actually like? And if you can't answer that question, then it is something that you should sit and think about. So for me, before I was a wife and before I was a mum, I loved life. I loved working out. I loved the arts. I loved theatre. These are all things that were Shah's before she was a mum and before she was a wife. And I feel like I'm in a good place where I'm comfortable with me. And I do feel like I do know who I am. And I could say, for me, I do think having a child at 35 contributed to that, because I've done a lot of work on myself, guys. It's not like I've just got to this place where I'm comfortable with me and I like me. But I can confidently say that I like me, and it's not in a boastful way, but I do like Shasha and I feel comfortable with myself. I'm always on a journey. We're always evolving. We're ever-changing people. But I do think that this subject of, being a mum, and it's like, I'm just a mum now. No, you're more than just a mum. What do you guys think? Nats, what are your thoughts about this?
Hi, this is Natalie, everybody, of Three Mums. You might not remember me, as it's only our 2nd episode. So I'm Natalie, mother of 2. You're very right, Charles. Absolutely true. To be truthfully honest, I think a lot of women lose that identity when becoming a mother. And I don't know if age always plays a part in it, because I actually know women who are late 30s. I know women who are early 40s. So I don't know if age is a major criteria, but I do believe that it's always a bonus before becoming a mum if you've done some work on yourself. I definitely believe that there's a major bonus in that, because you now have this little person who is looking to you for guidance in everything. So it definitely makes the journey of motherhood a lot harder or more challenging when you are still refining yourself, working on yourself, which we are always doing as people. But when it's like major work you're having to do on yourself, with the spotlight of a younger person that you're trying to raise and grow and nurture and everything else. And I think that's really challenging. But I've got friends that became mothers from their teens, college friends up until friends that have had, become mothers in their late 30s. I would like to honestly say that there have been mums that took to it both ways. I know mums that became, parents at 18 and took to parenthood really well, just stepped up to that responsibility, did what they needed to do, and, you saw it was evident in the development and the growth of their child. And then I've got friends who are late 30s and it's been the same way, but then I've seen the opposite, and I do think the work just needs to be put in on yourself. But yeah, this subject's an interesting one, man. This subject's a very broad one, and I think a lot of women can relate to it. What do you think, Annie?
I think for me, motherhood, the dynamics of motherhood for me has been, as you both know, vast. There's so many levels. And I think I had said from a young age that categorically I didn't want to be a mum. I don't know why my thoughts were that way, but I just knew I didn't want to be a mum. I didn't feel I had that nurturing side to my character. So I had chosen that I didn't want to be a mum. And then I think being told at the age of 19 that I wasn't going to be able to be a mum, I kind of resigned to that fact that I didn't want to be one anyway. But then once I hit my 30s and became pregnant, obviously there's another backstory to that. But
Annie, I'm going to be honest, I have to pause you, babes, because this is you've touched on something that's big here. There's women listening to this, and you just kind of passed that like it was like you actually were told that you couldn't have children. Like,
yeah.
Okay,
so
don't hold back, babes. Like, people want to hear your story.
Okay. So I
for 2 seconds. Go on. So yeah, at the age of 19, I was told that I had PCOS, which is polycystic ovary syndrome. And this is after years of having irregular periods and not knowing what was happening with my body. Even as a teenager, erratic mood swings. I mean, Natalie could vouch. She can vouch for those erratic mood swings, but I did not know what was going on with my body. I couldn't.
Wow.
I didn't know. And at the age of 19, diagnosed with polycystic ovaries, and pretty much told at that time that I may as well write off any plans to have children, because the state that my ovaries were in, it was going to be a non-starter. So as I said before, from an early age, I just thought that children wasn't going to be for me anyway. And so being told that, I kind of just, took it with a pinch of salt. So
can I just ask, did you feel like you were maternal, or was it kind of like when you heard that, well, I can't have kids anyway, and I don't feel maternal? Like, did you feel like you had that maternal?
Didn't think I had it, Charles. Genuinely didn't think I had a maternal bone in me.
I'm sorry, guys, I have to laugh because you haven't seen Out of Her Kids. So it's just like, life is just really hilarious. Anyway, carry on.
How things change. So I just didn't think I had that maternal side to me. And just like I said, just resigned to the fact motherhood wasn't going to be for me. So I was married in my, I'd say, early 20s. And in my marriage, I think I had a change of heart, a change of mindset, and felt that as a wife, it's my due diligence to my husband to have a child. But knowing that there was complications and everything like that, it caused a lot of strife within my marriage, because I then felt like, well, what kind of wife am I if I can't produce, if I can't give my husband, a child? And as much as he was very understanding and that wasn't an issue for him, it was an issue for me. And I know I put a lot of pressure on myself and a lot of pressure on him. And subsequently, our marriage ended not too long after that. So it was hard. That was hard. But then I think the change of mindset was that, whatever was spoken over my life in regards to not being able to have a child, I actually want a child, you know. And I just remember one day, very randomly, in fact, I'd read the book, The Secret, and how it talks about, speaking things as you want it to be. And it was very random. I wasn't in a relationship at the time after I'd split up from my husband. And I just remember I was in the bathroom one day in the shower, and I said, I am going to be a mum. And that's all I said. I said it out loud. I was by myself. Wow. I said, I am going to be a mother. Yeah. And so if I skip forward, I think it was 2010. Yeah, 2010. Yeah, Josiah. I
was rushed to the hospital, and basically, I know what was happening. My ovaries had twisted and whatnot, and I was rushed to the hospital, and basically, in excruciating pain. And I remember saying to the doctors at the time, "Can you give me some morphine?" And I was like, "We've given you all we can give at the moment." So I was like, "Well, I just need more because this pain is it's unbearable." And the doctor turned around and said to me, "Well, we can't give you any more because you're pregnant." And I said, "Hey, like, you can imagine, Shaz, yeah." And this is 30. I was 31 when I was told. I was 32 when I had my firstborn. But you can imagine, after all these years, of all the complications with my ovaries and whatnot, the doctor has just dropped this massive bombshell on me that I'm pregnant, and
11 weeks pregnant.
Right. But that's
wow.
That's the thing. He almost had to take it back because he was like, "How can you not have known?" And then when they did all the tests, that's when they found out I was the best part of 11 weeks. So I'd nearly gone through a whole trimester not knowing that I was pregnant. And in that moment, obviously, my world just changed. It was just turned on its side up. Yeah, it changed. And I think the fact in knowing that I had declared that I wanted to have a child, my circumstances was that of I wasn't actually planning to be with the father of my child for the foreseeable. So I was like, God, I know I asked for this. Now I'm getting it. Yeah. But under the circumstances, it's just like how I never really thought I would ever be a single mother, or, and I had my firstborn, and admittedly it was hard because I was so used to being independent, doing what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it, no accountability. And it was just a shock to the system that I found really hard to adjust to. And I remember it was after about 10 months, I think, once my maternity leave and all my annual leave was used up, I went back to work, and I went back full time as well. And my son was at a childminder at the time at first, and then later on went into nursery. But I saw the change there was a shift in our relationship as mother and son. It was almost as if there was a resentment there for him. As young as he was, it's like, mummy's not around anymore. And because of that, there was just how he would respond to me when I'd pick him up from after work and whatnot. It was just, it was very hard. And I think I would admittedly say that I wanted to somewhat shun some of that responsibility because I had an amazing supportive network around me. And, I would sort of at times pass him over, after him, so I could go back and do the things that Anthea wanted to do. So whether it was the socializing, just, things that I wanted to do that made me feel like my old self. Never really wanted to take on full responsibility. And I'm just being real. Didn't really want responsibility. I was happy to be a mother because after wanting a child, I was so happy to be one, but it wasn't under my terms, if you understand. It still wasn't as you expected it to be. Not what I expected. And then let me move forward to then becoming pregnant with my second. Completely different circumstances, but with my second, I then knew that as for my career, it would have to take a back seat, and I was fine with it. I was prepared for that, but then I had in my mind that once she was of a certain age, she'll be in nursery, and then I can not necessarily pick up where I left off because I knew I was going to have a completely different career change. Because what I was doing before within the retail sector, it wasn't going to be conducive to being now a mother of two. So I had my plan set out that when Tyler goes to nursery, I was going to go back to work, find myself again. I was going to be, I was, as much as I have an amazing partner who prides himself in providing, I was like, you know what, you've done your bit. Now it's time for me to do mine.
Yeah.
That was my plan. And then I fell pregnant again. And this time, as I have to say, I will always say this was by immaculate conception. So whatever.
No.
Yeah, it was by immaculate conception that my third child was I was pregnant with my third, and it set everything back again. Like, I'm not going to lie, I think I spent the best part of the 9 months depressed because I had my plans. Like, I was about to find myself again. I was going to have a brand new career. I was chopping and changing like the wind what that was going to look like, but it didn't matter. I was going to find myself again because I felt like this is not my portion. I need independence. I need my identity back. And so, being pregnant with the third just, obliterated my world. I'm not going to lie. And it's taken me a while, guys, to adjust. Yeah. It's taken me a while. All my children are amazing, and I'm glad to be in the position that I'm in, to be there for them in the capacity that I'm in, that I'm there for them. I think it will be hard, like, when I see other parents and I think, how do you do it, in terms of like being there in the morning on the school run, being there or not being there maybe in the evening for dinner, even to do homework. So when it comes to those things, I'm very fortunate to be a part of every single part of their development through school. So for me, it's been a journey. That's all I would say. It's been a journey, and I'm still looking to see what does the next chapter of my life look like outside of being, a stay-at-home mother. But this is progress. What I'm doing now is progress.
Quick question. So would you say that all 3 children got the same version of mum? Or would you say they all had a different version of Annie in that sense? Like, what would you say? Because you were different ages. You were 31 or 32 with Ma. How old were you with Tyler?
You're putting me on the spot now. So 30, let me think. Tyler, I think about 36.
And Raya, 39.
39. Yeah.
No, Tyler, 37.
37. 37, Tyler. Raya, 39. Mari, 32. Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
So, yes, they've all had different versions of me. So I would say Amari got the younger, more agile. I think even just generally a lot more clued up, because I was still within that career, still career driven, still around adults. So I had that adult stimulus on a day-to-day basis. Tyler.
But you said less maternal with Mari.
Less maternal with Mari.
So less maternal. So what about Tyler now?
Tyler, she's definitely had a more maternal version of myself, because I guess I've had to learn with Amari, and she has had pretty much 100% of my time, because there was no responsibility in terms of going to work. Yeah.
And
Raya's had an older version of me, a version of myself that's a lot more tired, physically,
that's
mentally,
real.
emotionally, but she still gets.
That's deep. That's very interesting.
Would you say, Ants, that you're basically still on that journey of kind of, because I heard you when you kept saying finding yourself again, and I always, when I hear statements like that, I always think, because for me, it's not that was the old Charlene before Talia, but in a way, it kind of was like I'm a new. My body's different.
Yeah.
The way I think about things, the way I approach things is different. And so, do you feel like you're kind of still on that journey of kind of self-discovery and just kind of finding where is my place? Even though I know obviously you were doing what you were doing in H&M and you've still got those skills, you could go back if you wanted tomorrow. But do you feel like you're still on that journey of kind of finding you?
I think yes, I am still I'm still on that journey of finding me, purely because I've been so absorbed in motherhood. You know, since, I mean, it's been 6 years this year since I've actually not gone and done a secular job. So I think that for me, it is, you know, it's, there are days where it just becomes mundane. It's just, you know, you have the routine. And like, there's got to be more to life than this. Like, you know, when I'm on my knees in the kitchen, like for the third time for the day, sweeping up the crumbs, you know, I look around like, seriously, like,
no, it's true.
I'm just like, there's so much more, you know, and
but it's your current season.
It's my current season. It's my current season. And then I think, if I'm honest, because of my age now, I'm like, am I even relevant?
Of course you are. Of course. Is that
but that's just me being honest.
Of course, we get it.
You know, because
and you know that your age is irrelevant too. Like, seriously.
I know. But I think it's like, there's so much that has happened since I have been out of the secular work, you know, even just down to social media, how things have constantly keep moving and keep changing. And, you know, I am actually like in my own little bubble. So it's like, okay, what would be the first thing that I would do to even approach this subject of not stepping out, so to speak, but branching out?
Guess what? You're doing it.
Well, there you go. That was going to be my next point.
You say that, but you're doing it right now. And guess what?
Yeah.
You're doing it in a way that works with your life. It works within your current circumstances. It's not pulling you away from your current duties. But still, there's always a way. And it just shows that nothing that you've done prior to this current moment is irrelevant. All of it is important. And it's sometimes we don't know why we've taken the journeys we've taken. You don't know why, you know, you were told what you were told at 19, but trust me, there's someone listening that's been told those words right now. And they need to know to stand in the shower, speak over their womb and say, I will be a mother. Like, there's so many, we don't know the reason why we go through the journeys that we go through, because it's ironic that you say you were told that and you took on those words. Remember, I was so, for everybody that doesn't know, both Anthea and I have polycystic ovaries. So we were both told the same thing. My journey is very different to Anthea's in terms of I had the very irregular periods. We're talking like 1 period a year or whatever else, being excruciating pain for 2 to 3 weeks. But I didn't have the mood swings like that, or I didn't have any, there really wasn't any physical sign externally for what I was going through, except for when my periods would come. After much hassle, I got diagnosed a lot later at the age of 22. And I never forget sitting in that room and the doctor did the scan and he was like, oh, your ovaries are covered in cysts. So it's just so matter of fact the way he said it. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? He goes, oh, you've got a condition called polycystic ovaries. Kind of said, you know, told me to wipe the gel off my stomach and all of that. Actually, was it my stomach? No, he did an internal scan. Actually, it was an internal one. And then sat me up and he's like, so basically, I'd like to let you know that, you know, you will have problems conceiving children in the future and you will need to come back to us when you look to have a child because you will need help. And I was like, okay.
Man just dropped it like it was
just matter of fact. Like, and I was on my own. And I remember saying to him, and it's so steep because obviously we've mentioned in our previous that we're church girls. Church is at the heart of us. Out of all 3 of us, Shaz is the one that has stayed in church from start to now. And that's the absolute truth. I had my season where I left. I just felt like I didn't know Christ for myself. You can be raised in church and still not know the Lord. But I had actually at that time just come back to Christ. And I don't know where this spiritual boldness came from, but I guess it was from those prayers that have been prayed over me from childhood or from things that were said over me. But I never forget when you said it, I was like, okay, thank you for that, but I'm not receiving that. And he's like, sorry, what do you mean you're not receiving it? I said, so thank you for that information, but I'm not taking that part. But at least I know where I stand, and I'll go and do my research. And literally after that, I went and researched just on foods and diet. I knew that I needed to exercise more. I knew the kinds of things I needed to cut out, but I also knew one major thing, which was that contraceptive could make conceiving at a later date a lot harder because it alters your body's natural rhythm. Now, when you've got polycystic ovaries, your body practically has no natural rhythm. So I knew at that stage, I definitely wasn't going to put anything further into my body to make that a lot harder. So getting married 2 years later at 24, I remember saying to Anthony, obviously still married to him now, by the way, I won't be taking any contraception. So as much as we'll be doing family planning together, it's now on you to be as responsible as possible in that department, because I won't be taking the pill, the coil, and implant, nothing. So that when we do want children, we just know that we've not had that extra thing against us. Mm-hmm. We always knew in the back of our minds it might be a challenge. I'd like to say God is so good. I found out I was pregnant with Josiah, 2 years and a couple months into our marriage. So for me, it was a great surprise. It was like, oh, my body works. Do you get what I'm trying to say to you? But I can't say that I didn't expect it. And unlike I definitely was maternal. I dreamt of having children. I hoped to have children. It's something I regularly spoke on, but it's the weirdest thing. I was deep down very scared to plan for children, because I always was so fearful of ever getting to that place where I desired it and then plan and then it didn't come through. So it's the weirdest
like you were
thing.
Protecting yourself.
Yeah, as much as I spoke those things, I was still so scared to ever reach a place of wanting a baby and it not happening. So there was a part of me that was always kind of praying secretly God would wreck my plans and I'd just get pregnant. Do you get what I mean? That was like a secret. But so when I found out I was pregnant with Josiah, it was like, thank you, Lord. But it still wasn't at a time I was necessarily ready for. I'd left my job prior to that to go self-employed. I was at a point where I was like, going to become stylist to the stars. Plans just got completely wrecked. Do you get what I mean? So I had him at 27. And at 20, I can say I was a different 27. I was very, very mature, very ready for Josiah. I didn't feel like I missed out on anything. I remember consistently styling, shining for event after event during that pregnancy. And feeling perfectly content of being at home with this little boy once I had him. But definitely reaching a point, maybe a year and a half in, and maybe it's something to do with hitting your 30s as well, and just being like, what am I? Who am I? I'm just a mum. I just think constantly feeling like just a mum, because as Amp says, my world was just him. I chose to be a stay-at-home mum. I had gone back to work, but at the time I used to work from home. So I think that partly added to it, because my work was in my house. I did hairdressing at home. So I was always at home. It was just, doing hair or with Josiah. There was no real external world for me. And I didn't know how I was going to make any of the dreams I had in mind come to fruition. But the truth was, the revelation came one day. I was lying on my bed, I was praying, and then I opened up the word for today, and in it, the exact word it said was, never belittle the role of a mother, because you are raising the next generation. And that, from that day on, it changed my whole perception on my role. He was like in it said, God values the role of a mother more than literally any other job title you could ever give yourself, because you are raising the next generation. And that, from then my perception changed. I stopped speaking, because I was speaking negatively over myself. I realized that this was just the season, but actually just enjoy this time. I knew of mums who had to go back to work when the children were 2 months and 3 months. Anthony and I weren't rich. There was, by no means did we have loads of money, but we're at least comfortable enough to be able for me to be at home and earn a lot less than him be out there working. And my son's 10 now. I'll never get that time back. But I'm so grateful I had those early years with him to shape his development, to shape his character. Do you understand what I mean? And I've not missed out on anything. I've still been able to build a career eventually. I've still, I've not lost out on anything. even though it was very hard. It was taxing emotionally, as Ant would say, being at home full time. It's hard. Like, you're a special, unique type of woman. And I remember, like, I'll be honest with you, I had certain friends in my life at that time. They kind of made me feel like what I did was less than them. And they might not have done it intentionally, but they worked, they were, career women, they didn't have children. And it was just like, yeah, Nats is at home. Like, it was just indirect comments. And I remember this one particular person having a child. And at the time, she was in a very good job. She had a child, and I never forget, like, she said to me, it hit about maybe 6-7 months in, and she was like, I have a all newfound respect for you. She's like, I love my child, but I need to go back to work. Like, I need to go back to work. Like, she literally was at that point where, as much as she loved her kids, being with her kids every single day was not working for her. Like, it showed that she just thought I just was at home. I don't know what people think a stay-at-home mum does, because you're working 24/7. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. The thing is, if you think that back to when people ask you, what do you do? And then your response is, I'm a mother, I'm a stay-at-home mum.
Yeah.
There is that tendency.
Yeah, there's like a stigma. I don't know.
There is a stigma attached. And I know, like, personally, I felt, when I said it, I almost felt embarrassed to say it.
Like, you want to shy away from the discussion.
Like, I want to shy away. Yeah, I wanted to shy away from it. But it took a lot of encouragement and a lot of, a different change of mindset to know that it's not a small thing.
No, it's not.
Just as the quote that you said a while ago, it's not a small thing, and it's one of the hardest jobs that you could ever do.
And we're talking about every day doing your best to stay mentally present, emotionally present. Exactly. Do you get what I mean? We all know now, we've touched on just one health issue that Anth and I shared. This health issue can go as far as create depression, like, as we've said, the mood swings, along with the pain that we'll get. Sometimes we spend the whole month in pain, not just when our period is due or anything else, still having to be emotionally, mentally, and physically present for our families. It's not a joke. Do you get what I mean? I mean, go on. So, like, for
Can
you,
I just say, like,
I've been at home for how long now? But you don't have the health issues. But what's your experience been like for 8 months with Talia?
I feel like I'm just, like, taking everything you guys are saying. It's so good. There's like flip sides to the title, because one side of it is we're not just mums and neither are you, and so do all the things you desire, do all the things you love. But the flip side to that is mentally, no, you're at home. Don't ever say I'm just a mum, because what you're doing is huge. And I loved your quote, sis, and I actually recently saw a quote that said, the most important thing you do might not be what you do, it's who you raise. And I do think that, for me, being at home, she's 8 months now, and I am, Chris is there, but I am her sole carer. It's me. He's working, and I'm still just now trying to do my song releases and work. And guys, it's a struggle. Just this week alone, I'm trying to wean her off my boobies. Guys, my boobs are tired.
Shaz, you lasted 8 months. I lasted 2 weeks. So you're good.
Listen, but guys, anyway, this is another conversation. This little girl is just not. I think my point is that I have loved being at home with her. Like, I am, that's why I just love this sisterhood and this community, because everyone's experience is different. And so, to that single mum listening to this, to that mum who had to go back, I am celebrating.
And there's no right or wrong.
And there's no right
or wrong. Like, it's what works for you.
Yeah, I am very fortunate as Nat to be able to be with Talia, and I love being with her. But it's like, I knew before I had her that for me to be the best mum to Talia, there are some things I'm going to need to still keep doing, like my workouts, which I still struggle to do, because when you become a mum, before you're a mum, you're like, I can make this work. But when you're a mum and you're doing it, your time is just zapped. Like the pull on me, as you know, Anth, you have 3, Nats, you have 2, I have 1. And I don't think I was prepared for the lack of time I would have for myself. I'm
Or
okay with
just
it.
Time. When you finally have time, you're tired. Like the
Natalie,
last thing you want to do is just jump up and down and do HIIT workouts. You just want to sit silently.
Listen, guys, I started this year, I was like, I'm going to go hard. I'm going to do like not because I want a quick fix, but because I just wanted some intense workouts.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be some 4-week thing. I lasted 1 week and I was like, and actually, I was like, you know what? For me to be the best mummy to Talia, I can't do this right now. I'm going to have to go at a slower pace. And that's it. And I think, just being with her, being at home, it's wonderful, but it is a lot. But yeah, the flip side to it is embracing your season and embracing your time. And I think that, I feel like that encapsulates the title of this podcast. It is just embracing. You're not missing out. So the person listening to this who's just like, I just want to do me right now and I can't. And I have a friend who had kids quite young and she had them one after the other. And I really do think, in fact, I know she struggled with her sense of self, who she was. She had some envy issues, jealousy issues, and she projected. We all have stuff that we're dealing with. And she's kind of come full circle. Her kids are a bit older now. She actually came back to me and apologized for some of the way she had treated me in the past, things she had said, because she wasn't happy with her life at the moment. She loves her kids, but she struggled. And I do think, I get it. I've not been in her situation. I can't fully say I know how she feels, but I can imagine she didn't plan the kids. They came one after the other, and she kind of did. She would say she lost herself, but now she's finally getting to do the things that she wants to do. And so I love what you said, Nat, when you said, like, you don't miss out and nothing that you've been through gets wasted.
I do think it can be slightly more challenging. So as I said, you're now doing it under a different microscope. You've got these little eyes watching you. The pull on you is different, but like I said, I've got the two types of friends. I've got the friends who hadn't even begun a career, had a child, and they built their career whilst being a mother. Do you get what I'm trying to say to you? And then I've got the friends who had the career, the house, the car, had it all. And then they're having the baby. Do you get what I mean? And it's still just as hard. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? I don't think there isn't, it's hard. I just think it's choose your hard. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, you find also that even in becoming a mother, your circle of friends can change as well.
100%.
Because not everybody is going to want to be on that journey.
No.
Because
that was hard for me at 27. I felt I was very young and I didn't really have, I remember always thinking, I know, but even then, even with you, sis, you were what? When I had Josiah, you were 25. You were 25.
I was in America.
Right. You weren't in America yet. You moved to America when he was 11 months. So you were 20, had him at 27. So I was nearly 28, right? You had just turned, it was his birthday the day after you. So you had just turned 25. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? You're carefree, you're still out and about as much as even though I'm super close with Shaz, she weren't that auntie that I could be like, even if I wanted to palm him off or, have a bit of the old
which
season,
you didn't.
Which I didn't, and I wasn't, but that was never going to be an option for me. Do you understand what I mean? I had to really step up. And I'll be honest, for me, my husband, it took him a while to get used to. I feel like he got used to Josiah by the time he was 10, 11 months old. It's like he's been here for a while now. It took him a while to adjust. We're talking about something as simple as, by the time he was 5 months old, I wanted to go back to the gym. And I remember money, not having that extra cash flow to even have a gym membership. Charlene saying, my membership, you can come with me once a week. And asking Anthony if he could have just commit to me one day a week on a Tuesday to be home at a certain time that I could go to the gym. And it's even now I look back at this conversation, how am I asking the father of my child, who I live with, who I'm married to just commit one evening a week so I can have an hour. We're talking 20-minute drive to the gym, an hour at the gym, then 20 minutes back home to myself. And I can't even tell you how many times he flopped me. Got stuck at work or a meeting happened or whatever. Thank God for mums, as Amp says, that extra village. Do you get what I mean? Because he'd call me and be like, nah, I'm so sorry, I'm on my way home. When he should be in the house at that time. And I'd be like, forget it, it's fine. Mummy's here. Do you get what I mean? And I didn't also make it easy because I very much was that sort of mum that just got on with it. And Amp can relate to that too. And Shaz can relate to that too. We just get on with it. But there is a flip side to that because it means these little people are solely dependent on this one person when there is a village here. Like that, you know, my children would walk past daddy for a drink and come to me, but you just walk past dad, go and ask your dad for a drink. So I think I still enabled certain things. And I'll say to any woman now, as well, if you're in that situation, you can flip it from now. Share the loads. You didn't make this baby on your own. Do you get what I mean? Learn to share the loads and have those conversations with your partner because you didn't make this baby. But I do believe that there is always one parent that is more the sole carer. I don't know anyone.
Nat, I would like to say in that regard,
yeah.
You can have someone there that is more than willing to help, support, you know, do their bit. But the type, speaking personally, the type of woman that I am anyway, I like things done a particular way.
Which is what I was about to head to.
And if I'm honest,
about to head to. And that's the thing. It's also learning to let go of the reins. And it's one of the hardest things to do.
And it's hard. It's very hard.
Josiah. And it meant that Josiah only...
Sorry, Nat, what did you say? You didn't do that with Josiah?
I didn't let go of the reins. I very much did literally everything. Do you get what I mean? But actually, as a result of that, I helped to contribute to a stifling in their relationship. Anthony was the type of man who would happily let me do it all because he didn't really know what he was doing. And where we were younger, he kind of took my guidance as me telling him what to do when it wasn't the case. You know, it's me guiding you, but I guess now looking back, maybe the way I communicated that could have been seen as me bossing you about when it wasn't the case. So there's been a lot of learning lessons, learning how to communicate to him and communicate what I desire, but also learning to let go and say, fine, you're not going to do it the way that I did. But with Joelle now, when I had her, God pulled me right out the way. Even if I didn't want to let go of the reins, I had no choice. I was so sick in that pregnancy. I had no choice but to sit back and leave him to get onto it. And I'm not going to lie, guys, he felt it. And I think for the first time, he had the most truest understanding of what I went through and what I do. Do you understand what I mean? Like, and, you know, I think for a lot of men, and this is not all fathers, but a lot of men do think caring for a child is a mechanical thing. Get them up, wash them, get them to school, pick them up, maybe read the book, give them their dinner, get to bed. No, there is an emotional pull and an attachment that that child needs. That I'm not gonna lie, mummy's just doing a different way. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? But I remember like being so ill and hearing Josiah after school chatting to, you know, my husband just going on and on and on and on about, you know, school, and all I could hear was like he'd been at work all day. He didn't have anything left.
He had nothing to give.
And I remember saying to him, you better step up. This is not enough. This is not you. This is what I do. And, you know, and as a result, though, I'll be honest, Joelle got a different version of us as parents, both of us, because there was much more unity. It was a lot more teamwork. By then, we're talking 3 years at home with Josiah, then practically 9 months pregnant with Joelle. By the time I had her, we're talking how many months in? It's been 4 years of no sleep, like no sleep. I couldn't do it on my own, even if I wanted to. I remember one night I nearly dropped her. She had colic. I'm standing against that wall, rocking her, and I just felt her come out my arms. And that's when I woke up, and then I realized that he literally caught her out of my arms because she was sliding out of my arms because I was so exhausted. So even if I wanted to do it all on my own, I had no choice. I had to learn to work alongside him. But I will admit that he was a lot more mature and he was more willing to just learn how to do it. Didn't see my advice as me telling him what to do. It was like, this is for the betterment of the household, for the baby. But it's a journey, man. It's a journey. And like I said, Amps mentioned the 2 different ages. I was 27 and 31. So I was still young when I had my second, but I was tired. Like, the pull on me was different. I'm still 6 years later, my weight yo-yos back and forth. I'm not,
let's not even talk about what you said. Huh? I said, let's not even talk about the physical aspect.
Like, I feel like, and with my daughter, she definitely got a different version because that was during the time of the inception of my brand, Mariso. So my time wasn't fully focused on her. I was, so this is my point. I don't know if you ever can be ready for motherhood because each stage you're a different age. Life presents different things. Shaz at some point might allude to what she went through in her pregnancy. Do you understand what I mean? Even with all the things, Shani was married a lot longer than we were, or in a relationship longer. I say built up a maybe firmer foundation, but then loses two family members within months of her pregnancy. You can share that for yourself, Shah, emotionally. What did that feel like? Do you understand what I mean? You could have never prepared to be in a global pandemic and lose two family members, and still you've got to stay whole and sound and do your best to stay calm to keep this child growing in your belly. There's no preparation for that. None whatsoever. So I think in every scenario we've raised, we've done an amazing job, and we're still doing amazing jobs, ladies. Do you understand what I mean? But I don't know if you want to share on that, Shaz.
I think that's a whole other podcast.
It is a whole other podcast.
That definitely will come up, but
that's
another time. But I feel like we've definitely covered a really broad range of topics under this thing of not just a mum, neither are you.
There's so much more.
This has been great. There's so much more we could talk about, but I feel like this has been nice and meaty. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at 3mums, except for Instagram, which is 3_mums. And make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube.
I have so many questions.